Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. Welcome back once again to Halo 5 Guardians. Today we're going to be talking about Breakout. Breakout is Halo's brand new competitive 4v4 high lethality game mode. It's a mode that 343 built and crafted with a lot of inspiration from professional paintball, from NPPL style speedball. And if you've actually ever seen one of those matches in real life, I'll have one link down in the description below. You can start to see some of the similarities and also the reason why this is called Breakout. The Breakout, the start of a paintball match, is the most important portion of the match. It's really where your team gets set up. They get themselves positioned to be successful. And a lot of that exists inside of Halo's Breakout. A lot of those components exist, albeit with much more complex and fantastical map designs. The big thing about Breakout, and the reason I'm talking about it today, I know I talked about it back in the beta, was really just because it has become one of my favorite modes and one of the most enjoyable and intense competitive modes that I've ever played in a Halo game. I think 343 really nailed it with Breakout, and I hope that it's a mode that isn't overlooked. This is a mode that I very much want to see played in HCS and MLG, and that I very much want to see people who are looking to play in a more competitive nature tackle and take on. And that's really the first part of Breakout. The thing that you need to know before you even consider this mode is do not even bother if you can't establish or put together an actual team, preferably 3 or more. It is a 4-person game mode, as I said, that can coordinate and that can communicate. This is a game mode that almost requires vocal callouts and constant communication from the team, very much like speedball in real life. There is a need for players to be verbally communicating on a second-to-second basis. You know, did you see this guy? Where did that guy go? Okay, where's he going next? Did they grab active camo? Is active camo still up? Is the shotgun still up? Did you get shotgun? Do you have grenades? What's the situation? These are things, these are components and pieces of information that need to be constantly flowing between your team if you want to see success. Now, the other thing that I love so much about Breakout is it asks you to be the best possible player that you can be all the time. As it is a round-based game mode, there are a lot of opportunities for one team or the other to make a comeback. So your team's consistency, your team's ability to perform at their highest possible skill level as often and as long as they possibly can throughout the course of one Breakout match is what will see you success. And you'll see it in the game modes. You'll see it when you end up playing like a 10 or 11 round match of Breakout. You know, when one team is starting to fall behind for a little bit, they're losing focus. Maybe someone's not performing at their peak, and then your team starts to pull ahead. Maybe your team just has the better set of tactics for an individual round. It's that sort of back and forth that makes it so enjoyable. Now, I've played a lot of, round-based one life modes over the course of my time with FPS, going back to the original Counter-Strike to 1.6, looking at what Call of Duty's done with Search and Destroy into headquarters and things like that. I've played a lot of them, and I've loved a lot of them over the years, especially a lot of the stuff that I've just done with, classic bomb defusal and CS. But for some reason, Breakout sort of trumps all of them, and I think it's the mixture of components that makes up Breakout. It's not just the gameplay mechanics, it's the map design, the way they've handled the presentation of Breakout. The idea that for the first time you actually are a team of Spartans, you are red team versus blue team. You're on this crazy, man-made arena floating in space. This arena that has, these wonderful visual designs to it. The floor lights up when you run on it, and the maps are just bonkers. There's so many layers of detail and complexity to the maps. And then on the other side of things, you have some of the maps that are more simple, but that still require this really high level of tactical knowledge in order to be successful against the other team. All the while, the maps manage to maintain some sort of line of sight between the two players, between the two teams at the start of the match. And that is a big part of professional paintball, is that you can see the other team at the start of the match. You guys are looking at each other across the field, and it's that initial rush where a lot of important callouts are made, where you tell the players, hey, I just saw him go right, he's going cloak, we have 2 at cloak, we have 2 at BR. It's those callouts that make Breakout so special. And also that make it, like I said, such a challenging and difficult mode to master. But at the end of the day, that's what makes it so great. It's asking you to compete at your highest level. And it's asking you to take the mode itself very seriously. It's asking you to take the maps very seriously. It's asking you to acquire and retain map knowledge, weapon location knowledge. And it's also asking you to have a little bit of foresight into how the enemy team's going to function, how they're going to move, so you can make those callouts, so you can make those decisions on the fly that will lead your team to success. It's all of that, everything I just talked about, that makes Breakout so damn good. Like, really, if you are an actual competitive team out there, you play a lot of Team Arena, you play a lot of Slayer, you play it very seriously with your 4-man team, and you haven't been checking out Breakout, do yourself a favor, head on over there, start playing right now. Learn the maps, gain the knowledge, and see just how competitive this mode is, and the adrenaline that it has to offer. I think that's the reward for playing Breakout, isn't just, you know, that element, that, you know, that component of success that you get, you know, that elation of finishing a match. It's the fact that when you do usually win a match, it happened, you know, in a split second. It was down to the wire. It was very close, and the entire time your adrenaline was just pumping and pumping and pumping. It's sort of a high that only really heavily competitive based experiences can give you, and usually it's a high that I only feel when I'm playing for some sort of money or prize. So to be able to feel that same sort of tension inside of a mode like this, where I'm playing for nothing but, you know, simple bragging rights with my friends, I think is key to the success of Breakout, to the mode. I did want to throw a few tips and tricks your guys' way, but I think a lot of it's really everything that we just talked about, you know? Map knowledge, individual player skill. This is a high lethality game mode, meaning that you don't have full shields, so you're going to be dropping people fairly quickly. That, you know, really alters how important things like map knowledge actually are. You know, in a standard match of Slayer, if you make a mistake and you expose yourself for a fraction of a second, you know, to like blindsided fire from your left or right side while engaging another enemy, you can usually get yourself out of that situation. In Breakout, that's not the case. 1 or 2 shots from a pistol, you know, that's it. You pretty much set yourself up for failure. You can't really afford to be tagged by 1 or 2 shots while in a frontal engagement with another enemy. So map knowledge is just far more detrimental to your success inside of Breakout than it is in just about any other mode. We're talking like SWAT levels of health here. You know, you really can get dropped fast. It's not 1 shot. You're talking like, you know, 3 shots with the pistol, and I think also like 2 or 3 with the BR and the DMR. So it's intense. It's gonna get brutal. It's gonna get brutal fast, and you're really gonna have to adapt. So map knowledge, key. Weapon location, power-up location, that's also a big thing. The map that you guys saw me playing on with my team in this video had a cloaking device. It had active camouflage, and that active camouflage was like the bane of our existence for several rounds. We really didn't put a high enough emphasis on it. The team managed to get their hands on it, and this match ends up being stupid close because we really ignored how important that active camo was. It wasn't until like, you know, 3 rounds in where we're like, we really need to do something about this active camo. This is seriously, like, this is wrecking us right now. Like, okay, let's change our strategy, let's alter our tactics, and let's make this happen. But it's that kind of thought process that you're gonna need if you want to be successful as a team inside of Breakout. The last thing I can recommend is really to just go in with your utmost skills when it comes to precision firing. Like, you can't afford to miss headshots. You can't afford to be the guy who has to shoot someone in the leg 16 times to win. You need headshots. You need rapid precision headshots. You need to be landing lots of perfects. You need to just outgun the other team at every single opportunity. Outside of that, play as a team, communicate. Don't be afraid to make callouts nonstop. This is a game mode, as I said, that asks you to communicate and yell at each other on a second-to-second basis. If you're going to sit there and you're not going to talk and you're going to go silent treatment with your friends because you start to do bad, then you probably should just step out of the arena because it's really not the place for you. You need to accept failure, you need to adapt to it, and you need to be willing to continue to communicate with your team in the face of failure in order to be successful. That's it, guys. That's Breakout in a nutshell. I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of this ridiculously close match. I will admit that I was not performing up to my optimal skill level, and I definitely let my team down a few times, but luckily my brother as well as my good friend Last Destruct there really were pulling their game together to make sure that at the end of the day we managed to pull through with a sick and slick victory. If you guys have any other questions for me regarding Breakout or Halo 5 Guardians, feel free to leave it down in the comments section below. Really, give Breakout a go, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.
Round 1. Next round wins. Round 10.
Time to send them back to basic training.
On 4. 3 on 2. 2 on 1. Game over. Victory.